Hello, this is Thomas Cobbs Jr. here with Kin 552. I'm California Baptist University here with my CAP for physiological factors of personal training clients. My chosen population, based on my career, the population I see most often are members at gyms that do have personal trainers. I've been a certified personal trainer through the American Council of Exercise since 2018. Um, my typical population age is anywhere from 18 years of older. Gym members that usually come in that start personal training, our majority are overweight that just want to begin losing weight. A lot of them are just basic beginners that require a basic resistance training program. For the more experienced clients, we will have to do a little bit more intense training so they can get the results they desire. The current gym that I work at now is inside of a hospital, and a lot of those clients are 55 years and older, coming out of surgery or physical therapy, so they require proper movement, core, and balance training. Through the years, I've come in contact with a lot of different barriers of why people may not start or adhere to personal training. The four I'll be focusing on during this CAP are lack of facilities, the cost of personal training, lack of time, and the lack of motivation. It's very important to note that some clients may have one barrier, some clients may have more than one barrier, and it's important that each approach to these barriers is individualized to that client. It can't just be the same for every single person. So, for example, um, if someone says, I don't have the motivation, I can't just say, oh, just listen to some quotes. This will help you out. It helps everyone out. That might be that different people have different responses to different things. The first one is lack of facilities. So a person's access to a facility can influence their willingness to begin personal training. For example, a gym closure or the location of the member, the client relative to that gym. During the pandemic, we had a lot of extensive gym closures. It was different from location to location, but I know for my gym that I was at, we were closed for about 2 months. My clients told me that they were going to work out during that 2 months, but they didn't as often as they should. Another one is just if a client is too far away from the gym to where they can travel regularly. I have had clients in the past that do make a pretty extensive travel, whether it be 35, 45, or 60 minutes to the gym. But not everyone can adhere to that because of maybe they may share a car with a spouse, or it may not match up with their, kids scheduling. So the first strategy to overcome this barrier, is for the client to purchase their own workout equipment, and then for the trainer, myself, to prescribe them a workout program. So, for example, if a client lives in an apartment building, perhaps a couple of dumbbells, a medicine ball, and some resistance bands will be beneficial. Also, if a client has a workout facility at their gym or at their apartment, that would be feasible as well. If the client owns their own home, they can probably purchase a little more expensive equipment, such as a powerlifting rack, a little bit more heavy dumbbell rack or set. Strategy number two is for the client and trainer to train virtually online. This was very big during COVID and during the gym closures. I'd make sure that my clients and I still have that one-on-one connection, whether it be just FaceTime or whatever piece of technology we had. Zoom was a big one. So according to research, perceptions of local environment were mainly associated with self-related health, received access to leisure facilities with sports activities played in the role of obesity and other health-related issues. During my research during this course, I found out that individuals in more rural areas are more likely to be affected by obesity due to their lack of workout facilities, as opposed to people who live in more urban areas that have that availability of gyms all around the corner. The cost, so too expensive. This is another big one. The cost of personal trainers varies from location to location based on the trainer certification level, frequency, and duration of training sessions. So, for example, um, if a client wants to train 3 times a week for an hour, that's going to be more expensive to train 3 times a week for 30 minutes. Um, a lot of clients that come in they do want to work out consistently, but when they see the price of the training, that's when they start getting their head like, oh, that's too much, and I need to maybe not do this. Although trainers aren't necessarily required to reach everyone's fitness goals, they have been proven by research to help reach their fitness goals effectively in overweight adults. The strategy for this one is for the trainer and client to come up with a cost benefit analysis. So this will the client and the trainer sit down together. It could take more than one session or more than a day. It could be consistently because it could vary just based on whether a client is in school, has children, has a financial venture coming up. This will be very beneficial so that you can set long-term financial awareness for if they can continue training for the long term or not. The lack of time. So this is one of the most common, if not the most common, to beginning a training program. And I tell my clients all the time, life happens. This could be from a job commitment taking up a majority of their time. Clients have kids. I myself am about to have my first child in June. Or let's say a spouse, so they have commitments to their spouse. Proper time management will be a key for long-term success for any client. So making sure that they don't just sign up for training and without thinking long-term, okay, I got this coming up, I have a vacation, Christmas is coming up, I might be going out of town. Somebody's telling the client, oh, you got to make time. That's not beneficial because it's not realistic. As much as we want to make time for what we want to do, it doesn't happen all the time. I wish I could work out 5 times a week, 7 times a week. I just don't have the time for it, especially in graduate school. Strategy 1, train clients either before or after work. Um, each client's going to be different. Some clients like to wake up early in the morning, get that workout in before they come in. Other clients, they have to pick up their kids from school. They have to get dinner ready. So training after work is so. Also training on the days when it's not the busiest with their families or with their jobs. So for example, on a Saturday, most individuals don't have work on Saturdays or on the weekends. Some do. Kids are at school, so that's a very beneficial one. Strategy 2 is to have consistency based on around the client's commitments and their schedule. So making sure that we're not putting the client in different time slots every single week. We don't make it consistent. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 10 o'clock in the morning for the next month, for the whole month of December. So that way they know, okay, I need to be ready at this time, and this time for the whole month. And if things happen where we need to change it, that's fine, but we still will make that consistency all the way through. Research has shown that the time of day that someone does train has different effects on them, physiologically and psychologically. So a second strategy is to lower the session duration to technically the third strategy would be to lower the session duration. So for example, I said 60 minutes to 30 minutes will vary. If a client is unable to do a 60-minute session for a whole hour, cutting it down to 45 minutes, 30 minutes will be very beneficial as well. Most gyms do offer those options for duration. And if they do, that'll be very beneficial to look at those duration options. Lack of motivation. Over time, clients, they could just lose it. They start really hot at the beginning. They have a big flame, big fire. They're ready. They're all gung-ho. Over time, it just dies out because they could not be seeing the results they want. They could be getting tired with the repetitiveness of the program. They could find something else that interests them. So one way to really help with this is establishing goals. But SMART goals are the most beneficial. SMART goals is an acronym, stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. So this will help with the client's long and short-term goals for success. And research has shown that writing SMART goals is fundamentally is fundamental to effective planning and results-oriented action. I use SMART goals with all my clients. We set SMART goals at least once a month at the beginning of the month because goals may change depending on what happens in their life. Things come up, life happens. What I've learned in this course, I've learned that every client experiences psychologic stressors differently, and they require one-on-one attention, and it's not just cookie cutter. Okay, this worked with one of my clients, it'll work for you too. Everyone, different folks, different strokes is what I say. Everyone has different needs, different reactions to every action. Long-term adherence to health and wellness is achieved when solutions to perceived barriers arise. So if something happens, we don't want to panic. We don't want to be like, oh man, this happened, I can't train anymore. Some things are so big where we probably should pause training, but it's going to be temporary. It's not going to be forever. So making sure we sit down together, come up with a plan together as a team with those solutions that'll help with success. Understanding clients' past can help predict their future. So if a client had history in the past of not finding success of their fitness program, understanding why that happened, it could be from the lack of time. Okay, why wasn't the times working for you? It could be a lack of motivation. Okay, what made you lose your motivation towards the middle of your training program? Lack of facilities. Oh, your gym closed because of COVID? Okay, I understand. So now that you have a gym, let's set some goals to make sure that we can stay in here long term. And then faith application. This comes from Ephesians chapter 4, verses 23 through 24. Be made new in the attitude of your minds, and to put on a new self created to be like God in true righteousness and holiness. So it's a renewing of the mind, constant renewing of the mind. I believe that you don't just change once, like, oh, hey, it's awesome. I don't have to continue to grow physically and mentally. It's a constant growth process of renewing of the mind. So I would make sure to tell my clients that. It also reminds me that the reason why we work out so often is because we don't just work out once and then we're good. It's a constant cycle of training, conditioning, and working out. These are my references, and thank you very much.